there, I want to pop in just for a quick video to show you some visuals on a setup for an online class. I'm going to show you some different sections in my working area that really helps to pull off the small details. Like I've said in the call before, I've been running online classes for almost probably 6 years, so I've adapted and learned a lot along the way. I am in a studio now, but when I started off, I was right in my basement. My stamp room was actually in the storage room that I put new lights in and put a carpet down. So it was with the slab cement walls. I painted them yellow so they would try to be a little bit cheery. And then I did all of my online classwork on my ping pong table, my kids' ping pong table, because you do need to have space to be able to spread out and put packets together. It helps tremendously. Remember a lot of the things that I said in the call, that the steps you do for an online class are completely similar to class for the same exact steps that you do for a face-to-face class. So it's all the same amount of work time. It's the same. You have to design. So I have a class here that I'll share with all of you. This is for my Creating for Christ class series that I do once a month. So, and I'll post an example of the tutorial for you. It's a free tutorial that I post for anybody who's in my Facebook group, which is the Creating for Christ Facebook group. So I'm going to post it for you guys, but it'll show you that I still have to design the projects. Whenever I design projects, I start with what do I want to make? What is it that I want to make? Is it cards? Is it a 3D home decor item? Is it, this one was a journal and a scripture verse holder and some cards. Oh, see, they're turned the other way. So I knew what I wanted to make. So then the second step is, what product am I going to include? See, this is where a lot of you then will jump to making stuff, and then you'll not think it through. So my next step is, what am I going to include in this class? Am I going to include a stamp set? Last month with this series, I included a stamp set. So this month I didn't want to. I actually used the same stamp set that we used last month. So a lot of them should have it. If not, then they're going to really realize why they should have bought it, or so they probably will buy it in the future. So what I included in this class was a pack of paper and the pizza boxes and some of the olive twine. So if you look at the cost of it, it's about $20 worth of product. And it's a $40 class because I had to include 2 journals, and the journals themselves are almost $10, or it's about $8 for the journals. But normally that would be a $35 class because I'd add the shipping, I'd add the tax, I round up a little bit, and then I have to put in $8 for shipping and handling. So I shared with you that pricing, and I'll just reiterate that again. This one was $40, a little bit more, but that's because I actually had to include the journals. I bought those off of Amazon. So anyway, there is, I still had to design all of these, but my design process is always, what am I going to include in the class fee? When I do online classes, it includes product, classes that are going to be shipped to people. That is how you boost your sales. That is how you keep your customers with product in their hands and loving the product and seeing how to use it. People who just collect product and customers that are frustrated about that, it's because they're not using it. But in an online class, I make them open it. They're going to use about 10 sheets of the paper in this class because they make 2 of everything. So they're going to see the value of it. They're going to use probably half their bolt of the twine. It's not going to be wasted. Nothing of it is. So when my customers purchase an online class, product isn't just collecting. Product is getting opened and used. Sometimes all of it, sometimes half of it. If they're going to be purchasing a stamp set, it is not just going to sit there unused. They're going to be making 6 cards with it. It's going to get ink on it, and it's going to have a value. So when I include product in one of my online classes, you're combating the issue of stampers just buying and hoarding a bunch of stuff and never using it. In order to complete my class, they have to open everything and use it, and sometimes they use it all. So they have to buy more. Now my online class has value. It's not just getting them to collect product and not doing anything with it. So The first thing we do is we design the projects, and I do those. And well, one of the first things I do is actually advertise for it, even before my projects are designed. Sometimes I know, like consistency, like clockwork, when I am going to be doing these classes, and I'm going to announce them the same time. The deadline's almost the same time. As an example, again, I went over this in the call, so I'm just like reiterating it again. And I'm gonna use this as an example because it's so easy, because I'm really doing it and I can really share with you, and it's very, very specific, and you can hopefully learn from it. But every 20th of the month, I announce what my class is going to be. They have 10 days to register for it. The registration ends the last day of the month. So sometimes it might be 11 days if it's a month that has 11, or in February, they're only gonna have 8 days. But they have until the end of the month to register for this class. I will show some sneak peeks of the class. I do not post a tutorial. I do not post all the pictures. I might show just a glimpse of some of the things that they're going to make. Or I might do a collage, and again, it's just bits and pieces of the class. But you've got to take good pictures if you're going to do this. You got to really spend an investment on lighting and backdrops and good photos. You can even take your pictures outside if you want to, but you've got to take good pictures if you're going to use them as a marketing tool. Because sometimes if your pictures aren't very good, then you actually will push people away. So sometimes pictures are not always the best way to go. It all depends on your picture skills. Okay, so by the 20th of the month, I announce it. By the end of the month, they have to register, and by the 10th of the next month, I ship them out. So I put my order in on the 1st of the month, and I always expedite my orders. I 2-day ship them, so it costs me $20 extra, but I'm charging them for that. I'm getting paid for that. But that way I know my order comes in 2 days. I get my order in on the 3rd, and now I have a week to be able to prep for that. Now this class will probably only take 1 day to prep for, but then that gives me time to be able to work that in. I'm actually going to be on vacation, not vacation, but I have to go away for a trip with my husband on the 7th, 8th, and 9th. So I have to get this out even before, I have to get ready beforehand. That just gives me a little bit of flexibility. So, but it's like clockwork. The next month, I announce it on the 20th, deadlines are on the last day of the month, it's shipped out by the 10th. It helps you be consistent, it helps your customers know what to expect, and then it's just so much more effective for all of you. Okay, so after your projects are designed, the next step is going to be to photograph them. With an online class, guys, if you're doing any online classes, you have to have the tools to go along with it, and that is taking pictures, editing your pictures, and doing videos. Now, videos are not 100% mandatory if you're just doing cards. If you're doing cards that are very simple to copy, then you can just do a picture tutorial and directions and close-ups of the cards. But if you're doing any kind of fold or technique or any box or any 3D project, you've got to be able to do videos as well. So right behind me here is my little video station. So again, for many years, I just set up my camera on my current table because I didn't have a video station. I didn't have a picture station because I didn't have the space. Now that I do, it's so much easier. That was a tip I had learned from other online demonstrators, was you should have a dedicated space. Because if you have a dedicated space, I'm going to go to this side. If you have a dedicated space, then it's so much easier to do it. It's like I can come over here, quick take a picture. So normally my camera, which is right in front of me, is actually set up over there. It's just a basic tripod, and it just points down. The tripod swivels up and it swivels down, swivels side to side. So I don't have the PVC piping, which you can do, and it can hold your phone. I actually have a dedicated camera that is always set up and always ready to go. It's the Sony Handycam. I've had it for 5 years, I believe, 4 or 5 years. It was a suggestion to me from my good friend Angie Judah, and I went and bought it. I am a learner too, guys. This doesn't come naturally to me. So when I learned, I just did what I learned, and I got the Sony Handycam. It's set up all the time, so when I need to go take a video, it's there. I don't have to search for it and clean off space. I do have to clean off space because you can see it's a little messy back there. Because guess what? When you do online classes, you have to make them all again. So you have to, a suggestion is to cut an extra set. So I already have an extra set of these ready to go so when I do my videos. So I can just take a set and then I make them for the camera. Okay, so that is my setup. It's just a table. The key part here is your lights. So these are the cowboy lights. They're photography lighting. You have to buy lighting if you want it to take good pictures. And buy photography lighting. You can buy a light box or a white box if you want to. To me, those were limited because I did and still do a lot of scrapbooking, so my 12 by 12 doesn't fit very good in there, or I do samplers, so I prefer to go with more of an open. I do use a wood grain background. It's just photography paper, and I cover, this is just a thing I cover, so when I'm doing pictures, it has a front and a back. I do love just a plain white background too. I think a white background is really easy and pleasing to the eye. So you don't have to do a wood grain. I change it up. I've been doing this for maybe a year, and before that I did white for a year. So you just kind of change it up to what you want to, but make sure it's very pleasing to the eye. It's got to be a very simple background. You can do staging on your photos. Staging is a good idea as well, where you just have like a little bit of ribbon that comes through. I'm sure you've seen some. You just got to do your research. What pictures are drawing you to them and which ones are pushing you away. So, and then you can try to start mimicking that behavior with your own photos. But a dedicated space is really important to make it easier for you, to make it so it's not a chore every single time that you gotta take pictures and take videos. Now, the other thing to think about is your natural light coming in. There is nothing that's better for pictures than just natural light. Now, being right in front of a window is not the best either because you might have too bright of light and then it washes out your pictures. So mine is actually at the back of my room, but I have a lot of windows, and then just with a couple added lights, that's about enough. Now, before I was in my basement and I had very little natural light. But I wanted to have that dedicated space, so I didn't want to take my pictures upstairs every time, set up a table every time. I just wasn't doing them because it was such a job, I wouldn't do them. So for my basement, I actually purchased more lighting. I had 6 lights, 3 different sets of lights. I had the big tall cowboy lights, and I had even more tabletops. If your pictures are not editing well, if they're not light enough, go get more lighting and set them up around. So here I can get away with just 2. You might not be able to. You might need 4. You might need 6. I mean, literally, you don't know until you play with it. And if it can't be white enough, you just go get light enough so you can actually really see the photos. Then go get more lighting. Okay. So that's the next step, is to photography. Now, the next step after that obviously is marketing and collecting RSVPs, which we're going to talk about on the phone call. So you can listen to the call about that. And then the last part then is actually once your RSVP deadline is due and it's cut off, then you do your order. Again, I expedite, I 2-day air order all of those so I know when they're coming in, because I still have a lot of work to do after this stuff comes in. Then it comes time for your prep work. So I'm going to kind of pull you away here so that don't get seasick or motion sick as I do this. But I'm going to show you just the next part you need. Okay, the next part you need, it's real easy. You need tables, just a blank table. Now, you may only need 1 table or 2 tables, but an empty table is perfect because you need to start doing packets. And you just lay everything out. Here's a class that I did. This was my last Treating for Christ class. It included a package of pearls, and it included a stamp set, and it included a package of note cards. So that was my product that I included. I decided this first, and then here's all the supplies that they needed to complete their note cards. I put them in a Ziploc bag, and then I think it's really important to label what you're doing. And the reason why is because I didn't used to, and people would say, Rhonda, I have a bag, I bought it from you a year ago, I have no idea what it's for. So now I make sure I label every single package. I make sure I include any embellishments they need, the punching is done for them, and then the cutting. So this is for note cards. So obviously the layers are not, overly huge. So there's just a sample of another class. But we have to spread all these out over the tables, and then we package them. I did another class yesterday. I'm going to walk you over here and show you another class that we did. So I have one that's going out today, and here you can see I'm starting the packets. Sorry for the bright light coming in, it's very early in the morning. So I will lay out the pieces for the cards, and then usually my assistant and I, today it's just me, now I'll start laying them out. So this one has 16 people who took it, so I'll do 16 packets. I always use, I talked about in the call, but I'll show it to you. I always use the padded, the lighting in here is so bad. I always use a padded post office envelope. You can only get these from online, USPS.com. They're padded flat rate envelopes. It costs $7.20 to mail them, but they're bigger and they're padded and you can fit a lot more in there. So this is a class that I just did yesterday, and it's so much nicer to ship those in there. This one, just so you know, I like to put a piece of chipboard in there if we're doing a lot of cards so that they stay protected. I talked a lot about one-click ordering. This was constant contact events. This is another one that I'm doing. It's something a little different though. Let's go over here. Lighting might be a little bit better. I love it because it gives me a report. And so I can go right off the report, who ordered, their address, what they ordered, and how much they paid for it. So this is what makes that one-click ordering so important. Here's my Facebook Live setup. See? I just sit there, and then this is your arm. So if you're going to do Facebook Lives with your online classes, again, it's nice just to have it set up all the time. The only time I take that down is when I have a class. Otherwise, that's where I sit. Okay, I'm going to go back over. So I know having a studio like this is not the norm, but these are things that you can still do at your house. Okay, I'm coming back into view. Sorry, my big old face is probably right in there. Okay, there you go. So you saw a brief, once those packets are done, I put them in the Ziploc bags. I seal them up if I can so that things don't fall out. We label them, and then we put them in their package and address them. Now there's lots of different ways to address. I buy those padded envelopes, you can buy them in the prepaid. So that they come with the label already on it, it's already postage, and I just have to write the address. That's what I like to do. There are other ways that are even easier. So all I have to do then is call the post office and they come pick them up. I don't have to take them in there. Now, if here at my studio, I do have to take them in because there's no mailbox here. But you wouldn't have to do that. You could just call the post office or schedule a pickup and they will come pick them up. You don't even have to even leave your house if you're doing your postage at home. You can print it off of stamps.com. You can print straight from PayPal. You can do click and ship from the USPS.com, and then you will print it up yourself and put it on there. Some people prefer that as well. I actually like to just order the prepaid envelopes. I write in the addresses really quick, and then they're ready to go. So that is the system that I choose to do. There are other systems. It depends if you like technical stuff or you do. I don't like sitting and printing all my own postage and then gluing it down. It takes me a heck of a lot longer. So as long as I order mine a week before the class, then I can get my envelopes, get them in, address them, and I'm good to go. Okay, hopefully you got a glimpse of a video to see what the setup of an online class looks like, what the process is. It does take quite a bit of extra time, but obviously I'm already putting the time in anyway for the class. Why not increase your business and increase your sales that much more by offering it to people who can't actually physically attend your class? All right, thanks for stopping by, and I hope that you learned a lot and a ton. I'm sure you have a lot more questions, so hopefully we can tackle those. Remember to listen to the recording. I go over so much more in the recording. This is just a visual to show you what I talked about in the call. All right, see you later.